All right, well, this is my Airtable, and these are all of the dips that I currently have over almost 2 years of collecting different colors. And then in the last year or so, being an ambassador and guest ambassador for a few different companies. So I was asked on one of the boards if I could talk through how I created my Airtable and then also how I created them to connect to the manis that I've done so that I could more easily see which colors that I'd used. So when you are in Airtable, you're going to create basically a form that is going to have a space for all of the information that you want to collect about your nails and your kind of what you want to save about your colors or about your manis. So when I was doing this, I really started it so that I could plan manis out on my lunch break when I was at home. So keep that in mind. Like, I didn't necessarily have my swatches with me, which was why I have some of the things in here, even though some of them I've kind of moved away from. But when you start your Airtable, it won't really have any of these things. So you'll want to find this plus sign and you're going to create a blank table. And then from there, you can give it a name. So I name the colors that I have. That table is called Have because I have them. Oh, and I already have one that's called this. So I'll just say Have Demo. And then you're going to save it. And then within there, you can start changing out what you want to have in your thing. So if you open up a record, you can just click these little arrows here to expand the record. And then in these three little dots here, you can delete, print, duplicate, etc. And then you can add new fields. And this is where you can customize what your form has. So you can change out. So I number my swatches and I number my dip containers. That's how I find things. So my first field is always number. And that's the number that I assign it. And I assign my numbers based on when I purchase them. So they are all in like chronological order. So dip number 1 is the first dip that I ever got. Dip, I don't necessarily want to say what number I'm on, 500 and something is the most recent dip that I got. So I've got add number here, and then the next field that I have is its name. So that's just the name that the company gives it. So what I did was I clicked this little caret on the side and I said edit field. And then I'm going to change notes to name. And then it's not going to be a long text. It's just going to be a single line text. And then if you wanted something to have some sort of default value, you could add it there. So then I save it. And then I'm going to edit this next field, which says assignee, which I don't have assignees. And I'm going to put brand. I like to keep track of which brands they are. And this is going to be a single select because one color only comes from one brand. And then you can add in your options. So like I have Thunderbird Lane. Then I could add another option, my KMGs. I could add another one for my I dip that. So I'm just going to put IDT and then etc. So whatever you have, you can change the color to be whatever you want it to be. So if you had different colors for different things. So it's really fun. You can make them, pretty much as long as you want. You can save that in. And then you'll see that when you pull it down, you'll see all of your options. And if you had a long list, you could find an option and you can even start typing in something new. So like if I had Revel, I could add this option immediately. And then I'm going to change the next field. And the next thing that I did was I created fields for the color. So like, was it a red? Was it a blue? Was it a white? I also created fields for kind of types. Like, is it a fine glitter? Is it a chunky glitter? So this is how you make your base kind of form that you're filling in for each dip. So then when you're ready, you can add records and it's going to have all the things that you need and you can just enter them in. I also have, let's go back to what mine looks like right now. So I've got name, I've got my swatch picture, although as I've gotten more dips, I usually just screen capture from whatever the web has. So this is kind of like my more recent dips. You can see they kind of take a whole minute to load. If I was better with computers, I could probably compress these pictures so that they loaded more quickly. But then I also have color type. So if I add in here, you'll see I have like glitter, shimmer, solids, sheers, clears, foils, neons, chunkies. If it changes when you get cold, if it's a overlay color, if it's a UV changer, I've got a whole bunch. Is that a matte glitter? And then I have a box here for if I've used it, and I just made that a checkbox. And what I really like about this is that it tells me down at the bottom what percentage of the total number that I have here have been checked. So right now I've currently used 70% of all of my colors that I have. And then I have 2 columns for brand because I ended up exporting my spreadsheet into my label maker, and my brands originally had been like their full names. But on the label, I wanted them to be shorter. So then I made them shorter and capitalized some of the ones that hadn't been capitalized. So you really don't need to do it twice. And then I've got 2 columns here for my manis. So in 2022, I started recording all of the manis that I had done. And I wanted to keep track in 2023 too. So this is how I did that. I created a new table. And then in my form, so if you like expand a record, when I added a new field, so you can call it manis, you're going to find link to another record. And you're going to pull that record from the new table that you created. So really the thing that you need to do first is create your new table. So you're just going to press this plus sign and create a blank table, right? And you can say like manis 2020, whatever, 2024. Save, and then you're going to make it the same way that we made the other one. You just choose what do you want this table to have. So my past manis, this is kind of what these tables look like. Let it load here. I think it's struggling because I'm using a Google extension to make this video. So I've got a name for my manis, and then I have a picture that I put in on my phone from the ones that I've taken there. So you don't have to move them to your computer. You can also have this app on your phone. And then really, I have like the date that I post on Instagram. I really just do that to keep straight for my different companies that I influence and am ambassador for. And so that's really all I have on this. And then the colors. And so this is where you can see if I, I don't want to, oh, here it is. I want to edit this field. You'll see. So it says link to have, and have is, so it's a link to another record, and the other records are in the haves. And then I save it. And then if I press this add a record here, I can search for any of those colors. And because I have mine, listed here by number, I can find them really easily. You can also do it from the have tab. You can connect to this table. So let's say, let's see, I think I just did this. I did this Lego one. So I did this Lego Mani the other day, and I put my pictures in on my phone, but I haven't connected my colors yet. So I can go down here to add, and I use color 84. So I put in 84 here. Here it is. It's danger. You can see I've got my color family. I've got my pictures, and I click it. Then I can click add record. I used 180 Reptar, and I use number 9. Oops, I put in the wrong field. So I use 9 Blue Christmas, and then 229. Oops. 229 turn up from Quirky Dips. So use these 4 colors. It saves automatically. They're all in there now. And now if you go to your halves, you go to have and you scroll up to any of those colors. You can also Control F. So let's go to number 9. You can see here it is over here. There's that Lego convention. You can see I've used this color twice before. I used it in another Lego mani that I did in 2022. And then I also used it in a mani that I called Blue. So I can pull up those records straight from here. So if you ever wanted to replicate something, you can find all of the colors that you used. And then once I've used a color, I mark this little used box. And that is how I use my Airtable. I'm going to put a link to my Airtable base. So that's just kind of like the fields that I use into the description. You should be able to click that. And I believe you can create your own copy. It won't have any of my records. I think it will just have the base. It will just be kind of the empty form. So I hope that you all found this helpful. A few people asked for this. So hopefully you are watching now so that you can be ridiculously organized. I feel like this is way more than most people need, but it makes me feel good to know that I've used more than half of the colors that I've received and or purchased. And, you know, like in 2023, I've used 50% of all of the colors that I own, you know, and then in 2022, now the number was closer to 70% in 2022, but I've added a lot of colors in 2023. So, all right, you all. I hope that you have a great day. This was by Devin.